Welcome in, everybody, to Betting Pros. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia. That, of course, is Scott Bogman, and it's you. It can only mean that it's week 3 in college football here on Betting Pros, and we're going to take you through the likes and the leans, and, of course, what we learned from week 2 in college football. An eventful week. I got to watch Iowa and Iowa State, which I enjoyed. I thought that was a very fun game.
That was like an NFL game.
That was. It was a very fun game. I enjoyed that profusely. I didn't get to watch as much as I wanted to on Saturday because I had children's football to coach, of course.
Yes,
so
that's right. Got to coach your own team.
It's very important. Yeah, I've got some new recruits too. I'm going to some kids' houses. Got to talk to the parents. Got to bring them over there. But Boggs, it was another fun.
Joe Saban Pisapia.
That's right. I'm great in the kitchen, baby. I am great. You get me in the kitchen, get me in the living room. I am fantastic. I'm going to recruit your kid. But hopefully we're going to recruit some W's here. So let's just recap last week real quick before we move on to the games coming up. We had a little bit of an upset there with Ohio State, so we can certainly touch on that. So let's start there because that was certainly surprising, to say the least.
Yeah, there are some things where it takes 2 weeks to really learn. So you see Ohio State struggle against Minnesota, and you go, all right, new quarterback. They're just a little behind in the first quarter because the second half, C.J. Stroud made some throws, and C.J. Stroud was not the issue in this game. They scored 4 touchdowns against a tough Oregon defense. Good secondary with Oregon and stuff, but they could not stop C.J. Verdell. I mean, I think that's the best game I've ever seen C.J. Verdell play, and it was against Ohio State, which was crazy. And dude has real speed. Anthony Brown didn't have to make too many big throws, so he did enough to help them win. And I can't believe how overrated Ohio State was coming into the season.
Yeah. Texas, your thoughts on your boys?
Oh, come on.
A little Longhorn action there for you. How was that for you?
Not great. But also I'm used to it, which is why, I thought that they would go in and beat Arkansas down. They still cannot tackle. And that is the big thing. That's a big difference maker. You watch a team like Iowa, who you saw this week, play Iowa State, and you just see wrap up tackles, grab them and throw them. When you watch college football one day and then you watch the NFL, you see what the difference is in the defenders. It's guys that can make a tackle. So CJ Verdell broke a huge one and they had him stopped. He wasn't running past guys, but he broke 2 tackles because these dudes can't tackle, so Texas still having issues with that. Arkansas's got some big dudes for sure, but they just pounded Texas into the ground and making another change at quarterback back to Casey Thompson, who I thought was going to start the year, but it's still rough in Texas.
It's still rough in Texas. How about Notre Dame? Your thoughts on the Fighting Irish?
I am so sick of Notre Dame. I picked them twice. Look, this week, I was 5-4-1 week 1 on my Bogman's Best Bets, the article that I put up on at Betting Pros. We talk about the nationally televised games here. I do the ones that I really, really like in that one. I was 7-3 this week, and Notre Dame screwed me twice. And it's, our boy John Lobb, I do the ITL CFF show with him. He talked about how terrible that offensive line is. It's real bad. I didn't get to watch them a lot week 1 against Florida State, but I watched them against Toledo, and they are bad. Toledo is getting a bunch of pressure. Toledo's a good G5 team, but they have no business playing with Notre Dame at South Bend. So that game was way too close for comfort. I just don't know. They're going to have to, that O-line is going to have to gel for them to get better, and it's not going to happen in the first month of the season. So they look bad.
All right. What else did you learn this past week before we move on to this week's games? BYU.
Well, BYU smacked down Utah. Remember I called that BYU game, Joe.
You did.
I said, if you're going to bet on this game, because I didn't really like it, but I said, I don't really like this game, but just put money straight up on BYU if you're going to gamble this game. And they did. They won straight up. So that was impressive. USC was just waiting for a reason to fire Clay Helton. So he was he was kind of the scapegoat, but you can't be losing games. I mean, Stanford has been pretty bad, and they don't have really a semblance of offense right now. And you let them beat you, USC, that was terrible. Dante Williams is going to step in there and, be the interim head coach. That's their 4th interim head coach in the last 8 years, Joe.
Wow.
So they got to get somebody in. You know, you've already heard the Urban Meyer rumors, and
I think he's going to be available very soon. I could just tell you that. I think Urban Meyer might indeed be available sometime by Halloween. It's very possible if things you lose to the Texans week 1. Yikes! That is not the good way to start. That was rough.
Yeah,
all right, but that's all in the past. It's a new week. Yes, it is. So let's start with Ohio at Louisiana. University of Louisiana is favored by 20 in this game, 57.5. And again, these are the likes we're going to start with. These are the games that Bogman has serious feelings about. So give us your serious feelings and emotions about Ohio at Louisiana.
Well, look, Ohio got smoked by Syracuse, who was one of the worst Power 5 teams in the country. They lost to Duquesne last week. So ULL, they haven't been their best. I think they were a better squad last season for sure, but they're still much better than Ohio, way, way better than Ohio. So I think that it's going to be a fun Thursday night game for you to watch, but my money is on the Raging Cajuns 100%. I like Louisiana in this game because I don't think Ohio has a lot going here for them. So give me Louisiana.
All right, let's go to UCF at Louisville. This is UCF offense against Louisville defense. Would you put it in that sense? And UCF is favored by 7 in this one. The over-under is 68. So your thoughts on UCF at Louisville?
Yeah, this whole matchup, like you mentioned, Joe, is going to be UCF's offense versus Louisville's defense in this game. And I don't even think Gus Malzahn can screw up this UCF offense, right? So yeah, I know he likes to grind it out. We saw him at Auburn run a bunch of those, slogging 10-7 type of Big Ten-y, games. But Dylan Gabriel and company are lighting the world on fire. I think they're going to get up, and I think it's going to be difficult for Mikael Cunningham to lead Louisville back. More of a running threat, So for me, I like UCF a ton in this game. The over, the over is kind of 68. I don't want to mess with that, but I will take UCF and give the 7 here. Easy.
Third ranked Oklahoma will be at home. A little sluggish start to the year for Oklahoma, but certainly getting back on track, I think, last week. And now they're going to host Nebraska, and it's only 22.5 points that they're favored by. It's a big number, but again, this is third ranked Oklahoma, so we expect them to put a whooping on Nebraska. The over-under in this game is 61.5. So how do you approach this one?
They got me in week 1 when Tulane went in there and almost beat them. God, that would have been great. Oh, I would have enjoyed that so much. But they didn't. But I think, like you said, they had Western Carolina last week. The offense got into a rhythm. Spencer Rattler, I think, had 5 touchdowns in that game. So I think they're here. And what we know about Nebraska is they are not in rhythm. Had a big win last week, but they're going to go into Norman, and I think they're going to get stomped. This could be a Notre Dame situation where I'm just, giving too much to the talent of Oklahoma, but I think it's everything in Nebraska that's wrong. I don't think Adrian Martinez can help that team come back if they get down. I think they're going to get down real fast. So give me Oklahoma in a walk.
All right, this is the point in the show where I tell you that the number on Bama is too small. It's Alabama, first ranked Alabama at 11th ranked Florida. Bama by 14. 14? That's it? Should be a little bit more than that. I don't care. It's Florida. I don't care. The number is 58.5. Once again, I don't understand what's going on here with these Bama numbers. Bama looks so good. I don't know, man. I can't wrap my mind around, unless you think this is like a garbage time where, they kind of let Florida back in at the end, and I can understand that, but I don't know. 14 again. I'm just sitting here thinking it's not enough.
I think you're probably right. And I think talent-wise, Florida is one of the few teams that can match up with Alabama. Florida, Georgia, Clemson, some years Ohio State, obviously not this year. Some years Oklahoma, probably not this year. But I think there are some teams that can match up. Auburn can match up with Bama sometimes as well. So I think Florida can match up, but they're not in rhythm. Bama is in mid-season form. Emory Jones is really, and I'm excited about Emory Jones of Florida. I think he's going to be a great quarterback. I think he's a great dude to replace Kyle Trask here, but he's not in rhythm yet. Richardson is banged up, who a lot of people think is going to replace Emory Jones at some point. Emory has thrown 2 touchdowns and 4 picks so far. I'm with you, man. I think they get smoked by Bama. 73% of the betting public is on Bama. 98% of the money is going to the under in this game. So, I mean, and I'm not real confident in that under because it's under 58.5. I don't know. Bama might get most of that. So I don't want to really mess with that, but I do like Bama against the spread here.
All right, good. I'm glad you're finally coming around. I mean, when you got to get these numbers in the 20s, I think, for Bama. Like, I don't know, man. They're just that good. They're just so smooth, and they execute so well. Florida State at Wake Forest. Wake Forest 5.5-point favorites in this game. 61.5 is the number. Do you think that Florida State can go in there and cover this?
No, they have shown me nothing at all. I thought, okay, maybe they're getting better. They just played Notre Dame real hard. Well, we just talked about how bad Notre Dame is this year. They suck. So this team just lost to Jackson State or whoever it was. Terrible on a Hail Mary. Did you see, by the way, the guy propose in the end zone to his girlfriend, the Florida State player, after they lost? Like, the other team is celebrating on the field, and he's proposing to his girlfriend. Maybe it's his birthday or something. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe save it for a win, bud. But Wake Forest is a capable offense.
He might not get engaged then if he keeps waiting. Maybe I was going to ask you to marry me, but we just didn't win enough games. You
know what? Maybe keep it for Valentine's Day, bud, because it's going to be a long year. But Wake Forest is a capable offense. David Bell, or I'm thinking of Purdue, but they've got some good hitters on the squad. So I like Wake Forest. I like their offense. They're going to be able to put up points on Florida State, and Florida State can't score. So give me Wake Forest.
USC at Washington State. USC minus 8.5, 62.5 is the number. So what do you think happens here in the interim?
Okay. So USC, look, this is the fourth time in the last 8 years, like I said, that they've
But doesn't that usually happen when a guy gets fired? Even if in the NFL you see this, like, the kids respond, the players respond for that first week. This feels like that kind of setup potentially.
This is 100% a trap game for bettors because the money is on Washington State. The money's on the over. I don't really care about the over. I think, Washington State lost to Utah State week 1. They're not exactly what I would call stable. And I think when you look at 2 unstable programs, even though one is replacing a head coach, I'm going to go to the one with more talent. And every year until the end of time in college football, USC should have more talent than Washington State. Agreed. Every single year. So not going to happen every year, but it should happen every year. It's just so easy to recruit to California. Hey, everything is great here. Except for taxes, and you're not making a lot of money with your NFIs.
And all the money you're making's on the down low.
So. NILs, yeah. I get all. I always mix up NIL with NFTs and NITs and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's all confusing.
But the name, image, and likeness, sure, maybe you get hit with some taxes or whatever, but you're living in California. The weather's great. The people are beautiful. Go to California, right? So, for me, I think USC wins this one by more than 8.5 points.
I agree. I'm with you on that. It's very funny how, and you would think that the betting public would actually know better about this because it feels like every time there is a coaching change, it's that immediate response. After that, it probably reverts back to all the ails and all the ailments and all the ills that were there in the program to begin with or in the team to begin with. But it's that first week where you have a massive up because all of a sudden everyone's playing for their life a little bit. People are like, wow, what am I going to do? I gotta have a good game because maybe I want to transfer somewhere if I don't like the new coach or how this stuff, like there's so much going on here to unpack. You don't see this very often too, where we're 3 weeks into a season and the head football coach at a big program.
They were just waiting for the shoe to drop, man.
Well,
the first mistake that he made. Yeah, it did. So, and actually the rumor is Eric Bieniemy, the Chiefs offensive coordinator.
Well, let me tell you, man, Eric Bieniemy should have gotten a head coaching job.
He should be coaching the Texans right now.
Yeah, but you know what? That's a whole other show we could do. South Carolina at Georgia. UGA is favored by 31.5 in this game. 48.5 is the number. So clearly this looks to be a butt whipping here that Georgia's going to put on South Carolina. Is this dangerous, though? Is the number too big?
If y'all want to watch a murder live on television, this is the game to watch. You guys want to see a dead body? Yeah, seriously. Georgia is going to stomp South Carolina. I hate lines like this. Because the funniest thing to me is that the line is 31.5 and the over is 48.5. Mm-hmm. So, but we just saw UAB. I would say UAB is probably a better team than South Carolina right now. They're at least equivalent, and they lost 56-7 to Georgia last week. So did you see the one sad guy? Like they have this big, because they're the Blazers.
Is that the guy who got engaged?
Dragon.
No, just kidding.
No, not him. But they have, a lot of teams do the turnover chain and all this stuff. Well, UAB got a turnover with 3 minutes left in the game or whatever. And the guy puts on, it's this huge dragon skull that's all studded out and everything. And he's flashing it to the camera and everything. And the score says, you guys are losing 56-7, dude. Maybe pack up the dragon head and take it back to Birmingham with you, So I don't know, man. I hate big lines usually, but this one should be a bloodbath. I think. I mean, I think Georgia wins this game going away. I think they might hit this over without South Carolina scoring a point. So now look, sometimes these kids will get up for a rivalry game. I know Georgia doesn't consider South Carolina a rival, but they're SEC rivals. Mm-hmm. So maybe they'll play hard or whatever. And if you don't like those huge lines, I don't blame you. People get caught in them all the time. Notre Dame got me twice on those big lines. So, but I like Georgia. I think Georgia is just one of the strongest teams in the country this year. South Carolina's got nothing right now.
Arizona State ranked 19th against BYU, number 23. ASU is favored by 3.5. 51.5 is the number. Your thoughts on this one?
Look, BYU is coming off a huge win, and I like that one because I didn't think Utah was as good as people were giving them credit for. I wasn't really sure, but I think BYU proved that. But I think ASU is definitely the better team here. But BYU has a strong defense, but I think Jaden Daniels has in his weapons Rashad White, Ricky Pearsall, LV Bunkley Shelton will prove a little more challenging than Charlie Brewer. Charlie Brewer looked lost, and I know he's a transfer and all that stuff. I think he's your age, Joe. I think he's been in college for 15 years or something. But he looked lost. He didn't look right. Jaden Daniels is not going to look like that. This one will be tight. The spread is only 3.5 points. But and ASU's on the road, so it's tough to take a road favorite and all that stuff. But I think ASU is going to go in there and ruin BYU's year by winning this game.
All right, so those are the likes. Those are the ones that Bogman has some really strong opinions about. These are the leans, so we don't like it as much, but it's something that if you want to get involved, you can certainly look at. And let's start with Cincinnati, ranked number 8 on the road against Indiana. Cincinnati is favored by 3.5. The number is 50 on this one, Boggs.
I really like Cincinnati, and I looked at this game initially and I went, this is Cincinnati in a walk. I think Indiana is completely overrated, but I think they got stopped by Iowa. After seeing Iowa crush Iowa State, I went, all right, maybe Iowa's just really good and Indiana's not that bad, right? Because they looked much better week 2, Indiana did. So I think Cincy's going to win. But the Power 5 is 37-7 against G5 teams this year, and Indiana was ranked coming into the season, and they still have their same quarterback, Michael Penix. He is coming off knee surgery and all that stuff. But I think Cincinnati's going to win this game, but this one makes me a little sweaty. So give me Cincy, but I think it's going to play a little closer than anticipated.
I think you might be overthinking this one.
I definitely could be.
I think your instincts about Cincinnati are right, but I understand your hesitation. You make a good point for it. Michigan State at Miami. Miami ranked 24th in the nation. Miami is 6.5 point favorites at home, 56.5. Where's your lean on this one if you have one?
Oh, I hate this game. I don't like, but I'm not going to touch it with a 10-foot pole. I feel like the Hurricanes, this is their opportunity to get back on track here. But Michigan State looks like they might possibly, maybe, sort of have a competent offense this season. So I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Kenneth Walker. And my guy Eric Froton on my CFF show, we make a bold prediction. He called Michigan State to win this game straight up. That gave me a little pause. Eric knows his stuff. But I think I'm going to take Miami. They're at home. Michigan State has to travel. I think they're the better team, but they have not looked right yet. And look, rhythm and timing and all that stuff is very, very important for football, obviously. So they should be able to get their timing right here, but I don't want to mess with this one at all.
Next up, your favorite, Notre Dame at home against Purdue. Notre Dame 7.5-point favorites. The number's 58.5. So 0 for 2. You want to take a third swing at this one? See if we can send you to the bench?
Notre Dame's got to win this one. They got to win this one.
But did they win it by 7.5? I mean,
I can't. This is what I do. I always screw up Purdue and Wake Forest because they have the same colors. David Bell and Plummer and company. I think Purdue's got a really good offense. Wake Forest is Hartman and Ja'Cory Robertson and all those guys. But I think that offensive line for Notre Dame, I have no confidence in them. So I can't bet this game because I thought they're much better, way more talented, much better recruits than Toledo. And Toledo played them hard in South Bend. This is probably going to end up looking similar to that. So I think at any point, Notre Dame could go off and win by 30, but we just talked about the timing and the rhythm, and getting in rhythm is so important, and they just don't have that yet. So I'll take Purdue and give me the points. I have no confidence in Notre Dame.
All right, Georgia Tech at Clemson. Clemson ranked number 6. Talk about confidence being shaken too. This number's huge, 28.5. Obviously on the Clemson side, 51.5 is the over/under. So what do you think about this one? Can Clemson cover this huge number?
Well, they didn't last year. The spread was 24, and I feel like they were a better team than last year.
They were
Trevor Lawrence.
They had
Travis Etienne. They were a better squad. They're still very, very good, but this line is one of those ones that's so big that it makes me nervous. I think this one could, at any point it could get away, and Clemson could win this one going away, and I would not be shocked. But I think I would probably take the under 51.5 more than I would touch the line. I think the under is way more. It's 51.5. I know 70% of public money is on that under. So it played to the under last year as well. That I'm more confident in than picking them by this gigantic spread, because I just, maybe this is the game where DJ puts it all together and looks like a Heisman candidate, but I'm not going to bet on it being that game. So
I think it's a big number. I'm with you on that same lean. I would lean the other way with the points there. I really would. Auburn, 22nd ranked against Penn State, 10th ranked. PSU favored by 6 in this game. 53 is the number. You just going to run away from this one, or you have a lean?
I would backpedal. I would run. I'm not messing. I want to watch this game because I think it's going to be real fun to watch. These are two really good defenses. Because normally, what I would say here is, I want the strong SEC defense, and that is what Malzahn built up at Auburn when he was there. Obviously, that's a lot of what Harsin does. But Penn State
can play the under here.
Penn State can play defense with anybody. I don't even like the under because it's kind of low at 53 for these teams. So that probably that's the bet. I mean, I not probably. That's definitely the better wager here is the under. But I don't want to really mess with this one because I think a couple things break either way, and I could see this playing. There's a lot of gray area here, and I do not like gray when I'm betting. We like black and white. So too much gray here. So too much Liam Neeson movie. So this is the gray. So yeah, stay away from that game.
There you go. Too much gray in my beard too. That's why I have to trim it down sometimes because it's getting bad.
You can't see it in the camera, but I'm getting, when my hair's coming back, I can see. Yeah, there's a little salt on this.
I told my kids, I said, if I ever grew it back, first of all, it doesn't grow on top really, and then second of all, it's gonna be all gray here. I mean, I can't even imagine what it looks like. That's the beauty. When you shave your head, nobody knows. You look the same.
That's right.
I never age. That's how it works. And neither does Bogman's amazing football analysis. For more, you can always follow him on the Twitter machine at Bogman Sports and check him out on ITL in this league and join the ITL.
And the Betting Pros
Army.
Article. And like I said, 7-3. 7-3. I was proud of that last week. So
you should be proud of that. That's good work. You're doing good work here. That's why we keep you around every single week. So check that out at Betting Pros, and obviously at Betting Pros you can get all the consensus lines as well to take you through everything you need. So if there's stuff we talked about, you can find it somewhere better that you like the odds somewhere else, then you can go there and make your wagers. Just go over to bettingpros.com and take care of that. In the meantime, you can follow both of us on the Twitter machine at Bogman Sports and of course at Joe Pisapia 17, and check out all that great content over at Betting Pros while you're at it. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Bogman, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.